Is there a greater joy in Sea of Thieves than blowing stuff up? I mean, you know how I say the best place for a gunpowder keg is on an enemy vessel, but what if I told you that there was a voyage that had you collect a whole bunch of them? And not just any old gunpowder keg, but the strongest ones in the game. Yeah, a few things are as anxiety-inducing as sailing the seas whilst carrying a dozen of these on your ship. Why? Because I have a dream. To defeat the end boss of Sea of Thieves using these kegs exclusively. Needless to say that a task as gargantuan as that requires a great many things. A lot of patience, even more luck, and most importantly of all, funding. Because as it turns out, the hunt for Blackpowder Voyage is a Pirate Legend exclusive voyage that costs not gold pieces, but doubloons, of which I had none to spare, but I knew somebody who did. So for today, I invited my good friend Micromads to try and help me achieve my goal. Said goal, however, I had not revealed to her just yet. Hey, just out of curiosity, how many doubloons do you have?
20,954.
Hey, can I borrow some of these?
Are you gonna say please?
And by borrow, I mean never give them back ever again.
My question still stands.
Is that a yes, or...?
I can see that this man has a death wish for us today.
Yes, sir. Can you buy that for my ship?
Ah. Do you want me to buy anything else while I'm here?
Oh my god! Hey, can I get that search for a cursed treasure as well while you're at it, or...? I'm at 133 doubloons, Mads. Please, I'm begging.
Well, you know what? Since you begged for it, you can have that.
Let's go. Okay, we're gaming.
10 as well?
Yes, please, and thank you.
That's what I like to hear. We love a gentleman, chat.
Milady.
Okay, that's too much.
First time there's gonna be more than just one person with main character energy on my ship. Alas, no matter how I sliced it, I definitely needed her help. Because not only does she have the funds to sponsor my project, but she's also my good luck charm. Because you see, not every dig on this voyage guarantees a tactical nuke. You can get fireworks, fire bombs, as well as regular kegs, with their Stronghold counterpart being the least likely find. Knowing my luck, I'd be finding like 2 of these before Rare decides to turn off the faucet. But with Micromads and my crew, we began stacking up a lot of gunpowder, meaning it became increasingly more important for us to avoid any and all danger. Now here's the thing, there are a few spots on the ship where stacking gunpowder barrels can make sense. The crow's nest is a popular one because if it detonates up there, it will do the least amount of damage to your ship. However, it is also easily accessible for any other player to shoot, so definitely not our first choice. To keep them away from prying eyes, we decided to hide them below deck, right in the middle of our vessel, hoping that no cannon fire splash damage would ignite them. But as it turned out, it wasn't cannon fire that we had to worry about. This Megalodon really likes you, huh?
And she's my friend.
What's her name?
Megan.
I thought that place was safe.
I thought it was too.
Well, today we learned, I guess. Now, I'd lie if I said that Megalodon bite-induced gunpowder explosion was on my bingo card for things that could go wrong that day. We had just lost a half-dozen kegs in the process, and unfortunately for us, that meant having to start over again, which is obviously what we did. The crow's nest did become our next location of choice, but let's not forget that lightning strikes are also capable of detonating our kegs, so when the storm came towards us, we had to move them once again. But it wasn't all bad news, because as it turned out, we were given a chance to recuperate some of our losses. Hey, so a Fall for Fortune spawned.
Yeah.
This could be good for us.
I hear that those have Stronghold kegs and also Athena kegs in them. It might be good to get us back to where we were, similarly, maybe.
She was raising a good point. Here I thought that a FOF spawning would take attention away from us, but instead we decided to take the fort on ourselves in order to raid its vault. And let's just say that trying to take on that challenge was fittingly explosive. When the final boss appeared, I took it upon myself to move our ship away, because at that point we had already collected a few kegs, and if said boss begins tossing flaming boulders at us, it would most likely make for a very bad time. I definitely felt validated in my decision when said flaming boulders took me out instead, but since I had an expert on my crew, completing that encounter was no sweat. And at last, we were able to lay claim to what we came here for.
Do we take the chest of Foff as well?
What are we supposed to do with that garbage?
The chest of Foff?
Yeah, what are we supposed to do with that?
I don't know, just be a nice decoration, maybe.
We can't blow anyone up with that. We should just leave it
That
here.
is a good point. Should we just leave it here?
Yeah, we should just leave it here.
Alright. It's not like we need it anyway.
Yeah.
Did you take the Ashen Wind Skull?
We can't just leave Greg here.
Greg?
Not every day somebody turns down the most sought-after chest in the entire game in favor of a combustible skull named Greg. But thanks to the Fort of Fortune, we had restocked most of the kegs that we lost due to the Megalodon incident. Of course, that alone would not be enough to take out the gold hoarders, so naturally we knocked out a few more gunpowder voyages. And after hours of setup, it was finally time to reveal to Micromads what I had actually planned.
What are we going to do with all these kegs? That's a good question.
You know what? Maybe 9 is enough.
What makes you say that?
Because there's a brigantine in that western direction. Let's cancel this.
Okay.
Now.
No.
Yeah, there's a good reason I didn't tell her what I was trying to do, because you see, the difficulty of trying to kill the final boss of this game via gunpowder kegs is that we needed to carry every single one of them through a series of traps. That gauntlet is not only time-consuming, but also deadly, meaning that getting our hands on these things was actually the easiest part. Not losing any of them in the gauntlet was the real challenge. And let's just say that we found out very quickly how challenging it was going to be. Alright, Greg, you can watch us embark on this epic adventure.
You're not scared of heights, are you?
I am, actually.
Oh my god.
Okay, I will trust Greg in your capable hands. Losing a keg is
my
fine.
palms are sweaty though.
No, Greg!
Why did you say that? Why did you say that?
Losing Greg so early definitely made for a huge blow to our morale. Such a huge blow, in fact, that I fumbled the very first keg immediately on the first row of spike traps, finding out that, actually, these traps aren't just deadly to players.
What just happened?
No way. I got yoinked and it detonated the keg.
It detonated all of the kegs.
That was quite a revelation. I thought the worst that could happen is that we lose a few kegs on the jumping section, but knowing that the traps can detonate them means that we had to change our entire approach. That's right, my friends, 5 hours of setup just went down the drain in the span of 5 minutes. But last time I checked, the gold hoarder was still alive, so you know what that means. We only had one choice, and that was to go again. We were not gonna give up that easily. Reunited with Micromads on a new day, we took it upon ourselves to collect even more kegs. In the first place, we had no way of knowing how many it would take to defeat the boss, but just as important was us needing a buffer for when we inevitably lose a few of them in the gauntlet. And the harvest was plentiful that day. 12 was the number of kegs that we had collected before we decided to face our worst enemy once again. The gauntlet.
I've already died.
What the? Let me pick you up.
Oh my god!
Mads, are you serious right now?
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
You don't have to talk about it, it's fine.
No, it's fine. I'll
Oh my god.
I'll come back. You don't know how to do this blindfolded? Okay.
Yeah, I absolutely do not. I'm gonna need you in front of me. There we go. Yep, nice. Mads.
Yeah?
Slowly, please. Just a reminder, my FOV is like halved while I'm carrying this thing.
Wait, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Cliff!
Cliff! No!
I don't talk about it.
But I'm taking my time. Are you joking? Are you joking? There's no way. I got deaded. I don't know if you can tell.
I had an inkling.
Oh no! Oh no! Can you make that jump when you're not running?
Yeah, I've done that.
All of my schoolyard skipping progress has led to this moment.
Wait. Is this salvageable? Oh, salvaged. Okay, we're good.
Oh god! Greg, part 2!
Now, I will admit that I might be cherry-picking a little bit. I've lost not one but 2 of our kegs at the exact same spot, but for every keg that did make it, we found a cozy little corner to stash them in that was far away enough from the boss as to not trigger the encounter. Trust me when I say that I've cut out most of the boring bits, like how we had to restart the telltale to reopen the door for every single attempt, because we had to keep our stash outside so it's far away enough to not get blown up should we mess up, or how we always needed to complete every single wave encounter down to the last enemy instead of just opening the door because we couldn't risk them attacking our keg, but also how we ended up running into other players. Wait, what? Whoa! Hey, what's up?
Hello.
What you up to?
The quest?
Yeah, me too. Don't worry.
Yes.
No fight.
Okay,
I'm not fighting.
no fights.
No fight.
You're right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to kill the boss with this. Okay, I'm trying to get this to the boss and kill him with that.
Good idea.
Yeah, as it turned out, the Shores of Gold were not as desolate as I had expected. I was lucky to have Micromads on my side because unlike me, she has a phenomenal track record of getting French pirates to do her bidding. She met up with the 2 of them on the ferry of the dam to explain what we were about to do, and luckily for us, convinced them to not interfere until they heard an explosion. 8 was the number of valiant kegs that had survived the gauntlet, and with another crew breathing down our necks, we had no choice but to put the plan in motion. And that fast. He swords it, ideally?
Yeah.
Because that.
Waking up.
Oh shit, okay.
We gotta hurry.
We need to hurry up.
They've got pistols.
He's teleporting. That could be good for us, actually. Never mind, he teleported away from us, because of course he did. Coward! Are you up in this business?
I've got him.
Nice, okay. Kegs are almost prepared.
Are you ready?
Just one more keg. I'm ready, okay.
Do it!
Oh my god, that killed me.
It killed you?
It killed me. Oh my god, we don't know if he's dead yet. We don't know if he's dead yet. This is the worst. The anticipation was killing me more so than the explosion itself, but after an agonizing minute of waiting at the Ferry of the Damned, we finally get to see the fruit of our labors. In that 8 kegs were not enough to defeat the gold hoarder, but this is not where our story ended. So on another day with a total of 10 kegs at our side, we decided to finish this off right. All right, hit him.
He's here.
Go get him, Mads.
Oh!
Yes!
Oh my
He's dead! We finally got him!
Exactly what?
The anticipation before I saw the gold splash. Here it is, Mads. We did it.
We did it! Let's go!
Anyway, this is it for me here today. If you want to watch another very dangerous video, what about you check out my episode on Cursed Treasure? You can find the card on screen right now. But until then, thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you guys have a day filled with the riches on the sea. And until next time, peace.